All right, number 1, what is the value of the expression below? So we know if we have weird numbers, like 2 negatives, then we're going to keep, change, flip. So we're going to draw 2 lines to change our subtraction into a positive. So we're going to keep the 21.641, change to addition, and then flip the negative to a positive. Oops. And so therefore these are all going to be positive numbers, so we just go ahead and add them. So 21.641 plus 12, and we have to line up our decimals, 0.34. I'll add in a 0 to help line it up, that is a 0. And then 2.44. Add in another 0. Go ahead and add up. 1 plus 0 is 1. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. Put a 2. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. Go ahead and put my decimal. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 2 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. So it's 36.421. And we had a typo, so your teacher may tell you to change the first number to something else, maybe just delete the first number. So if we are going to round to the nearest hundredth, we're going to look at rounding to the 2. There's a 1 to the right of it, so it will stay at 36.42. Make sure you put your answer in the grid. All right, number 2 is to write the value of this expression. So like we said with the last one, you're going to keep, change, flip. So you have a negative minus a negative. So we're going to change the negative to plus a positive. And then at the end, everything else is plus. So first I'm going to look at all of my negative numbers. So I have negative 2.45 and I have negative 2.01. I'm going to go ahead and add those up. So 2.45 plus 2.01. 5 plus 1 is 6. 4 plus 0 is 4. Put my decimal. 2 plus 2 is 4. So that is a negative 4.46. Then I'm going to look at my positives. So I have 1.2 plus 1.5. Add them up, 7.2. So now I have negative 4.46 plus 2.7. So same sign, we would have added, different sign, subtract. So I'm going to go ahead and say 4.46 minus 2.7. Make sure you line up your decimal, add a 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. I need to borrow, becomes a 3, that becomes 14. 14 minus 7 is 7, decimal, 3 minus 2 is a 1. And then is it positive or negative? So we're going to look at the larger number. The larger number was a negative 4.46, so my answer is going to be a negative 1.76. So make sure that you bubble in the negative all the way to the left, guys. Fill in your bubbles all the way with dark pencil. If you make any mistakes, make sure to erase it completely so that the scanner can read it and you get all of your credit for it. Alright, so what is the quotient of negative 87.15 divided by 3.5? So quotient, in case you forgot what it meant, it tells you by saying divided by. So we're going to go ahead and put the 87.15 inside, and then outside is our 3.5. So the number that's divided by 87 goes inside. So We can't have a decimal on the outside, so we have to change it and create a whole number. So if I move the decimal point once on the outside, I have to move it one place on the inside. So now 35 into 8, it cannot go into 8. I'm going to put a 0. 35 into 87. I know that 35 times 2 is 70. Going to go ahead and subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. 8 minus 7 is 1. And I have to bring down my 1. So now I'm looking at how many times it goes into 171. So let me think about it. If 2 times 35 is 70, then 4 times 35 is 140. So that looks about right. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 4 and 140. 1 minus 0 is 1. 7 minus 4 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. Carry down the 5. So 315. So let's see. 140 times 2 is about 300. So that would be times 6, right? Oh no, 140 times 2 is 8. And it looks like there's some extra. So I'm going to go ahead and try, let's see, 35 times 9. Sounds about right. 9 times 5 is 45. 3 times 9 is 27. 28, 29, 30, 31. So 315. We got it. Perfect. So it's going to be 24. And pay attention to where we moved our decimal to. 0.9. So when I graph it, now take a look. I should have done this before I even did my problem. A negative divided by a positive. So if you don't remember, do your tic-tac-toe. You have plus diagonally, and then the rest are negatives. So I have a negative divided by a positive. Let me look at this middle row here. So negative divided by a positive means it's negative. So put my negative sign in. Make sure you guys bubble all the way. 24.9. Alright, Alexandra earns $15.75 per hour at Sally's. On Monday, she worked 4.5 hours. On Tuesday, she worked 3 2/5 hours. She took Wednesday and Thursday off to study for a test, and then she worked 6 hours on Friday instead. So how much did she earn the whole week? So you'll have to excuse the formatting. So I know that earnings is going to equal her wage, which is how much she makes per hour, times the number of hours she worked. So let's find the total number of hours she worked. So I am going to go ahead and text code. We want to know how many hours she worked. I'm going to circle these numbers up here, but I know that we're really working with the ones that I wrote in since we had a formatting issue. Okay, so I'm going to take her 4.5 plus 3 2/5 plus 6 7/10. So I know in order to add fractions, I need a common denominator. So 2 and 5, I can both change to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and keep my whole number and say, okay, 2 times what is 10? 2 times 5. So 1 times 5 is 5 over 10 plus 3, and let's see, 5 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4 over 10. And then plus 6 and 7 over 10. I can keep that the same. So 4 plus 3 plus 6 is going to be 13. That's just the whole numbers. And then I'm going to add the numerators. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 7 is 16 over 10. But that's an improper fraction. So I'm going to take 10 of them and turn them into a whole number. So I'm going to have 14 and 6 over 10. So now I'm going to go ahead and find out how much he earned total for the week if he worked 14 6/10 hours. So 14.6. I'm going to multiply it by how much he earns, 15.9 0.75. And we don't need to line up decimals because we're multiplying. So 5 times 6 is 30, 7 times 6 is 42, plus 3 is 45, 5 times 6 is 30, plus 4. Oops, can you see that? Okay. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 is 9, but is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 2 is 30. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23. 1 times 4 plus 2 is 6. And then 0, 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5. And 1 times 1 is 1. So we're going to add all those up. I'm going to move it over here. Let's see, I have 0, 5, 9, right? 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 3 plus 7 is 19. Going to carry a 1. 5 plus 6 is like 6 plus 6 is 12. And 2. So I got 22, 99, 50. Now, there's 1, 2, 3 numbers to the right of the decimal. So 1, 2, 3. So 299.50.